Throughout our lifetime, it's a guarantee that we're going to face problems every step of the way, no matter if our life is going well or not. Even if good things happen, you're definitely going to face problems. For example, let's say you got admission to Harvard University. Now that's a great achievement, right? Because all of your hard work and dedication has resulted you in going to such a prestigious university. But what's there to think about after you've gone to Harvard? It's about staying there, and you have to contend with thoughts of, am I going to be good enough to be there? And oh no, I'm failing this class. That sort of thoughts, and that's a problem. That's a problem, even though you got admission to Harvard in the first place. Now this makes me sound cynical, but it's the absolute truth. Even if good things happen, you're going to deal with problems always. But the point of this video is knowing how to deal with problems. Now, how do we deal with problems? We know that each problem has its own uniqueness, but we can deal them with the same mindset. Ryan Holiday's book Obstacle is the Way presented a strong framework that we can implement in our day-to-day lives. And in order to effectively counter each problem in a healthy manner. And the main point of this mindset is that the extent of the struggle is the extent of the growth. Everything bad that goes wrong for you, there's something to gain from it. There's always an opportunity for you to take to use that problem or struggle and propel yourself to greater heights than before. And the first thing you should do is to build a discipline of will. You need to build a discipline of your will as such that you could tackle any problem that's presented in front of you. You have to be prepared for every difficult thing that comes your way. It's like building a fortress. In the ancient times when a empire had this huge fortress that they were defending, they expected that other empires would attack that fortress. But what did the people in the fortress do? What did the empire do to further protect that fortress? They brought in reinforcements. They made it a secure base that in that the enemy wouldn't even be able to breach that fortress. And that's like building that discipline of will. You need to build this mental strength inside of you, in that any negative thought you could deal with them easily. Just like if the enemy is trying to get into the fortress, the soldiers inside of that fortress would easily deal with that enemy. And the second thing you could do is, instead of acting out, you should just act. And what this means is that whenever something bad happens to us, we tend to act out, we tend to lash out, even if it's not in a way where we're whining and complaining about it. It could also be just feeling bad about yourself in your mind. That's not how we should approach problems, because if we think along those lines, then we don't see the positive in taking a loss. We rather just look at the negative. That's not the way to actually gain something out of this struggle. Instead, you need to act with a logical impulse. That is just breathe for a moment and consider the situation, and then make a proper decision based on logic rather than emotion. An example of this would be if you're playing for a football team. Let's say you had an amazing match. You scored 2 goals, but your team still lost like 3-2. You did whatever you could in your control, but your team still lost. And because of that, you decide to act out, and you start singling out the players after the game and blaming them for the defeat. And because of that, your teammates start to get upset, and now you've just created an environment of negativity and people just blaming each other, not trusting each other. And that clearly isn't the way to go to become better as a team. Rather, if you were to act in a logical manner, then you would uplift your team, and you would say something along the lines of, today wasn't our day, but let's work on the mistakes that we did find out in this game, and let's work on them ruthlessly and make sure that doesn't happen again. And you would encourage your teammates rather than acting out and acting selfish. And another thing to note is that obstacles create opportunity, and you need to find that before anything else. If we take the example of that football match, you saw the opportunity for your team to improve, and that when you encourage your teammates, you told them that we need to focus on rectifying those mistakes that we've identified after the game, and we need to work to make sure that we are close to perfect as possible. And that's because you sense that opportunity. When you find that opportunity, that's when you attack it, and persist with making that change. If we take the football example again, if we took the football example again, let's say a common error was, you know, the dribbling was quite poor, then you would do drills on that to ensure that the dribbling is close to perfect as possible in order to mitigate any mistakes that would occur in the following game. And another thought that stuck with me when I was going through my own problems and struggles was that there is definitely someone right now who has the same that has the same problem as me right now. There was someone who had the same problem 10 years ago, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. It's really important to note when you are going through a tough time that you aren't alone. It sounds corny, but you need to understand that in the sense of looking at your problem, it can be easy to get caught up by, oh, no one can understand my struggles. You aren't alone. Everybody's faced some problem or roadblock in their life, and it should give you encouragement that if these people could get through the struggle, then you can as well.